Good morning. Morning, everyone. Hope you're well. James, Dill, John, Silver, happy Thursday. And let's get into the markets. Tough time. What can we do about it? Nothing. We got to move forward. EURUSD I thought was a nice trade. It is coming down today. Obviously clipped us out on that probably liquidity run, right? Stop hunt at that area. Possibly that what's the word? The doubts I had over this daily maybe have come true, but anyway, we move on. Nothing I can do about it now. I still like it short. I still like the weekly. I still think I would take it again. But the reason why I went in, and just from my mind, so you know how I think, is that I did see this, I know that, and I saw this come back up. But the way I was thinking was, because I missed this by a minute or two, right? It didn't hit TP1, by the way. It was close somewhere. TP1 was somewhere down there. But what I was thinking was, I would have been in this irrelevant of what's happened, because TP1 wasn't hit, right? And it came back up, and I just thought, that is probably, for me, the right thing to do. So whether it won or whether it lost, like, I didn't want to run the risk of, okay, fair enough, this is a bullish sign. And yes, and that's why I was saying when Aoife was asking me, are you taking this? I said, just watch the stream first, because you got to look at that and say, well, do you want to be in that? But again, from my mind, although this was a bullish sign, and I could have said, well, I don't really want to be in that. But if it did, remember, swings and roundabouts came down, I would have been more annoyed that I'm not. So yes, I agree that if you get to like a couple of hours later on a 30-minute or on a 4-hour, a day or two later, yeah, okay, that's different. But if you miss it by basically a minute or two like we did yesterday, for me, in my mind, I just think I've got to take that because it fits my plan, and I would have done so. So shaping up to be the worst month of the year, which has kind of come out of the blue, really. It doesn't feel like it. It felt like the other months were worse. It felt like February, March were worse. Just funny how that works. Okay, SPX today. So markets didn't really like, well, the market's sentiment seemed to not like what Powell was saying yesterday, with obviously the R word, talking about not taking away 100 basis point rate hike out the question. So for me, again, he's speaking today, but for me, we're still in this corrective mode from the daily chart. I think this is the best way to look at it. Yes, we could have a movement down today, but we thought we'd have a movement down yesterday. It didn't quite do that. You can look at potentially this head and shoulders here on the 4-hour. If you wanted a bullish case scenario, I don't see where that would come from at the moment, certainly with what Powell said yesterday. So for me, looking at this daily, waiting for that 20 catch up, kind of like what we had before, is probably the way I would look at that. So you might get some have some volatility for a while, but you might get some strange price action while this SPX is correcting, as we sometimes do, before maybe some follow through when that markets do move in either direction. I'm not saying it can't go up, obviously, but the bias still has to remain to the downside. Dollar as well may be doing the same thing. 4-hour did look okay. Again, no massive follow through, possibly because we've got no real direction, even though it's corrective direction for others. You would say no real direction, and maybe that's why we've not got that follow through in the dollar just yet. So we could be getting that 20 period. The bias is certainly for me still up. But technicals aren't great. I have to say, on the 4-hour, the technicals from the lack of follow through from there, although you could call it a retest, don't particularly like this. So daily perspective is long. 4-hour, I'd like to see where it goes. I wouldn't make a decision really until we properly break below or underneath this kind of rangy area. But yeah, I need more confirmation on that. I still think it's long. I just need a bit more confirmation. Okay, watch this today. And all these breakouts are still getting closer. The only breakout retest I'm potentially looking at is Bitcoin here. On this hourly, I do like it short. Again, the issue with this is, do we have enough corrective here on this daily chart? So we break above here, because we've broken the lows of these lows, it wouldn't be classed as an ABC. If it does do that, I take it off. But if we break out, retest, I can look at it short. Again, my issue and my worry about Bitcoin is this daily. 4 hours good, but very similar to maybe EURUSD. Do we need a little bit more here, like we've done in the past, before we get an impulse? So I'll watch it. I just have a feeling this pushes, which in some respects I kind of wanted to do, so it takes the decision out my head, or out my mind, out my power. But potential Bitcoin shorts there. Now, the ones that I do like, USD ZAR is still setting up. We're getting closer to a potential aggressive. We could be within this wedging structure here. Either way, I still like this. I'm looking for an aggressive entry. I want an aggressive entry. It's not giving me an entry yet. We may need a few more days on account of that 20-period catch-up, but I'm certainly still looking for that. Very same with EU. You know, EU is probably closer. Ideally, if I had my druthers, what I would like to see maybe today or tomorrow would be that inverted, hold on, do that better, would be something like this. Right, if we get that, obviously with increased volume, that for me would be an ideal aggressive entry in EU. Again, going with that longer term strength. So that's what I'll be looking at today, tomorrow, potentially the next day. A reason to enter EU shorts is probably the closest aggressive I've got on the list. USD Singapore still setting up. Again, I like this as well. Looking for an aggressive, looking for a reason to enter. Still like that trade. So those three are really nice. USD ZAR, EU, USD Singapore. Looking for aggressives on all of them. GJ, you still in this, John? Not sure if you were in this or I can't remember if you took profits up here. Anyway, this is kind of doing what we thought it would do with a slight reaction roughly around these highs. Again, just looking at this come down, potential aggressive, but ultimately a breakout to the upside on GJ, which fundamentally makes absolutely no sense to me, but technically is still looking as it's setting up, GJ. Aussie dollar as well. Sorry, Aussie dollar was another one that I won't get an aggressive on this one unless it turns into B wave. So unless we get B wave here to come up for a potential aggressive, which might happen. You're not in it, all right. Which might happen or might not happen. It looks as if this may come down and we look at a breakout here, which is absolutely fine. You know, absolutely fine. Need that 20 catch up on a daily perspective to break to the downside. So Aussie dollar is another one. Kiwi yen. I mean, I have to get one of these breakouts that I've been looking at for the last few days. Kiwi yen as well within this third structure. Looking for a potential aggressive, looking for a breakout. Again, not going to go massively into all these because you know exactly what I'm looking for on each one. Just going through them all again. USD CAD I've added to the list because it's starting to set up a little bit more. Still need a bit to go before the aggressive. Still need a bit to go before the breakout, but I am looking at it long. And finally, the last one I've added in today is silver. Silver for silver. No, it's not silver. Sorry, it's gold. Not silver. So here's nice, actually. Here's nice. We're getting our potential cup with handle. I don't think price action, if I zoom in here, I'm not sure if you guys can see that very well, so I'll zoom in. I'm not sure price action is really giving me anything for an aggressive because of this type of price action here coming in and possibly kind of looking a bit correctively on smaller time frames. But ultimately, because these moving averages are so close, the 200 is quite close. We can obviously stagnant basically right now. We're looking for this to come down and a little bit of accumulation before a break to the downside. Commodity short, is that a good way to go from a technical perspective? Yes. I think so. Well, yes, certainly from a technical perspective. From a fundamental perspective, maybe not, but I just like where that chart is. I just like where that chart is. And as I said, there's so many ways you can analyze the fundamental side for commodities, for everything really. But I've just got to stick to my strategy. And even though it's hard right now, even though it's like, well, what's happening? Am I confident? I've just got to keep going because there'll be GCADs and EJ that just come up. And again, I think that's going to be the year. So being on around 4% for the year, 4% on the Q1, or sorry, for the first 6 months is not great. I'm not happy with it. Depending on how June closes, you never know. Obviously, we never know. But there's still positives to look forward to, as I said. I do want to get that new trade management in place. I do think as I kind of go on and I test and I look at things, it's something that I kind of really like, to get involved in, which hopefully will start in maybe 2 months. I would say I'm kind of planning. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. You like gold down? Yeah, I like gold down. With potential dollar strength as well. This is what I mean. If you get gold being that kind of inflation hedge, right, and the Fed doing, you know, what it's doing basically now, not ruling any rate hikes, again, does provide some kind of certainty. But then gold is a safe haven asset. It's just that, that's what I mean. There's so many different ways to analyze this right now. But looking at this chart, we've broken structure, right, where we're creating our Dow theory higher lows. We have changed trend from here. You could look at this as a kind of larger V reversal here. We've got the moving averages above. We've got our basing structure. We've got a secondary structure. Breakout down would make absolute sense to me. Absolute sense, technically. Gold against the euro. I'd have to go and I presume it's roughly around, you know, I don't have that here on. I'd have to load up something else. Silver. Send the chart through, mate. Send that chart through, but I presume it's relatively similar. Relatively. Hey, Darren. Kiwi dollar and pound New Zealand look near on the daily. Kiwi dollar. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, John, I think. Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Kiwi dollar, I can add that to the list. Basing structure. Absolutely, very similar to AU. Yep, well done. Kiwi dollar, I'll add that in after. Kiwi dollar daily breakout. I mean, with these dollar pairs, right? If you're thinking, well, maybe you get EU in the next day or two. USDs are coming close. Singapore dollar getting close. There's quite a lot. If you add an AU, NU to that, I mean, obviously I can't go full blown into everything USD CAD and, you know, things got to set up, but I just, you know, I think they're really nice setups. If they get what we want, you know, there could be like 5 or 6 setting up at one time, which we'll have to decide what we can do. If you can get EU maybe the day or two before, that can get to possibly break even. You've got a little bit of leeway there, but obviously we don't, or I can't have more than 5% risk, but we don't want to do that anyway on the table. Pound New Zealand. Yeah, pound New Zealand, it just wasn't enough. That's not enough as an aggressive. If you're looking long, are you looking long, John? Long, John? If you're looking long, then you could have an argument up here. Yeah, you could have an argument there. 4 hour. Yeah, I can see the argument. I just worry about that overall trend. But then you could say, well, it's failed here, right? It's failed to where you would expect this to continue, and it's kind of looking as if you get a close above the 200, then that kind of view on it makes sense, yeah. Obviously with the risk-off sentiment, but the pound has been weak. So from that technical, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I agree, John. There's a lot for next week that could, and I do hope they come into play, because I do hope I get the setups because I like them. But from pound New Zealand point of view, that's the way you could look at it, saying, well, from a technical perspective, this is certainly digested. You expect it to move from where we were looking to short it, right? From here. As you're breaking out, you're kind of retesting, you're rejecting the 200, you've got that initial trend, but there's no follow through there. And there's not much follow through in the market anyway right now, so that's something to consider. But I could see the bias for long. I couldn't take it, but yeah, I could see the bias for long. But I agree with you. I think next week is looking like there should be some good opportunities here, certainly around the US dollar pairs, and something I'd like to be involved in. So I just got to be patient till then. Just got to be patient. All right, anything else you guys want me to look at before I head off? Any questions? Nada? All right. All right, guys, I'll see you bright and early tomorrow for a Friday. It would be nice to get this week over with and hopefully win a trade. That would be lovely. Get myself back up there, but we're going to be patient with it. This is the game. There's still 6 months left to go. Last year, I was at 36%. I always remember that. I was on 36% in June last year for the first 6 months, and I'm on 3.6 for the 6 months. So there's nothing saying I can't go 36% in the next 6 months. I've always got to stay positive. But in saying that, I'm not happy. So I think I should be better. Do I think I deserve 3.6? Probably yes, because of the maybe the mistakes I've made throughout the first 6 months. But you can always rectify that. We can always, go better. Like I said, for me, and the same with you, the only person you're in competition with is you trying to be better than you was, or trying to be better than I was the last 6 months. And that's the way you can look at it. So there's no point me going out, online or whatever, and looking at somebody else saying, well, I've done this, I've got this. Firstly, you never know, right? There's a lot of people that obviously lie, right? Because we know trading is difficult. You're not going to be making the 10%, 20% every single month that some people say. We know that. But there is that kind of grass is greener thought for me as well. I'm not going to do it, but there's times where I think, you know what, is that strategy better than mine? Is this better? Can I do this? But you've kind of got to always get that devil off your shoulder and just say, you know what, I like the way that I trade. How do I get it better? And that's what I'm trying to do. So the idea of having that better trade management where those little trades, or those winning trades like EJ, for example, which instead of a 7 would have been a 14, maybe a bit more, obviously makes such a big difference. And I'm kind of, my ethos, even though it's not changing my ethos of having a tighter stop, because it's not a 5-10 pip stop, it's probably a 50 pip stop instead of 100, right? The idea of having those trades that give you that buffer, you think about maybe the GA and all that kind of stuff where you can make 10, 15, 20% on a really winning trade, makes times like this a little bit easier. So it is exciting. Let's see. Aussie Singapore dollar. Aussie Singapore. Okay, I'll pull that up, John, before I head off. Aussie Singapore. I don't think I've ever looked at Aussie Singapore dollar. I like USD Singapore dollar. Let me just get this up. Aussie Singapore dollar. Short. Aussie Singapore dollar short. Let's have a look at the daily first. Pretty trading view. Yeah. Here? Yeah. Like that. Let's have a look at the 4 hour. I couldn't trade that because I don't know nothing about this pair. But yeah, I like that. I'm trying to make it. How do I see it properly? There we go. Yeah, John, I like that absolutely. That's a nice chart. That's a really nice chart. Aussie Singapore dollar. Do I have that? I don't think they have that on this one. I don't think they have it on FTMO. Oh, I do have it. Well, John, what's the spread like on this? Where's the property? There we go. 56. I have to go in and, yeah. There's a way you can just look at all, there should be a way. I think it's here. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so 4 hour. Sorry, I'm just going through this because it would need a little bit more for me. But that's clean. I've never traded this before. Have you traded Aussie Singapore before? I presume you have, right, John? It would need, like I said, it would need, for me, at least, it certainly needs a 20 catch-up, right? Certainly needs a 20 catch-up. But this is clean. So we'll look at the weekly. Weekly then, closed underneath the 200. Fake out here. There's a case for it. Certainly a case in terms of higher time frames. Daily, as I said, looks... Yeah, Singapore is definitely... Yeah, you're right. Absolutely tradable. I like that, John. I like that. I really like that. I'm going to add that to the list. Jeez, there's so many breakouts here. Potential for next week. ADV Singapore dollar. I might break my virginity on Aussie Singapore dollar if that sets up. 4-hour cup with a handle trend. Yeah, good spot, mate. I like that. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely be watching that. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. This is good. All right, guys, have a lovely day. I'll see you all tomorrow, and trade safe. Peace.